I said, good evening to Miraa, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm delighted to have you.
I'm delighted to be here.
I've always felt like from just hearing you speak that you really are a purist when it comes down to your art. And I think to me, what was interesting is kind of like, where did that type of feeling towards artistry, where did it actually develop? Was it like the music you were listening to growing up, or what spawned that for you?
I think it's just who I am. It might be like a low-key thing that I just have about me that's a bit weird. Like that is just my knack. I zone into things a lot. And I think probably just growing up, I've always just been around music and hearing so many different types of music. So I'm just hungry to make my own. It's like being a chef. Like you're just hungry to try new recipes and like find different flavor combinations. And do you know what I mean? Like halloumi and chili jam. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like nobody thought that would bang until it bangs. So I'm a bit the same that way. So yeah, I would say probably just it's just who I am. I'm just actually unique for music.
What, did you come from a musical family, or is it just weird?
No, not really. I came from a hot mess of a family. I needed to run, and I think like I ran into like the arms of music. I think, yeah, not musical like that.
I mean, we'll piece it together, but I told you, like, the Miracle freestyle to me was like, you said a lot. So, and I was listening to it, and I was thinking like, and correct me wrong, like I was hearing abuse, I was hearing like family kind of breaking up, and when I was listening, I was wondering like, what kind of time period of your life were these things happening? Like, you know, like what age group, what age were you when? Because it seems like it was over a period of time. So and for me, that's probably one of my favorite records. So if you can walk me through kind of like the timelines of where some of these parts of the song were occurring.
Well, we moved. I wasn't born here, so I was born in Algeria, and me and my mum and dad, we moved here when I was 3. So from about, I'd say 4, is when I started to have like real memories of like strong like domestic violence, like towards my mum, from my dad to my mum, and like it's just I think immigrants moving from one side of the world to another, and having to like my mum didn't speak English. Like I learned English at school, so it wasn't even like my first language. So from young, really, from about 4 or 5, it's always just been mad. My brother was born when I was 6, and I have very strong memories of like my mum being pregnant with my brother, and it just being insane. Like really, really strong images of like physical violence. Like I think when you're a child, when you're like 6 years old, and you watch like your dad beat your mum and she's pregnant, she's got like all bloodshot eyes and bruises, and seeing your mum in it, it's like, it's very, I don't think that stuff ever leaves you. I think it's haunted me for a really long time. And I think from then, when I hit puberty, so I watched all the violence and like all of the fuckery. And then when I hit puberty, so when I was like, as soon as I went into year 7, it was me as well. So like, then my dad he'd turn on me and my mum. And it's like, we were like the whores of the house. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there was like no respect. There was no safeguarding. There was no nurturing. And my mum was like quite young. My mum had me at 19. So it was just, all I can really remember of my childhood is that stuff, really. Like, and like, obviously I wasn't allowed to go anywhere either. So school would be my escape. Like that's why I met like most of my friends that are still in my life now from school. Did all of like the gospel choirs, the senior choirs, the jazz bands, the rock schools, like any extracurricular activity that we could get done for free, because we were also broke. So like, I don't come from a well-off family at all in the slightest. Like, never saw a holiday. Never. It was very mad. It was very like, I was the other side of what I'm now seeing of life, innit? So that's really where my memories kind of like stem from. I feel like with Miracle Freestyle, I just wanted to like kind of let everyone know what I've been through, because it's shaped who I am, innit? So people always wonder, like, why does she talk like that? Why is she angry? Why is she this? Why is she that? It's like, that's why.
Yeah, that's powerful, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like, obviously.
Yeah, it was peak. It was like if the government had caught whiff of what was happening in my house, me, my brother, my sister all would have been taken away.
Are you the oldest?
Yeah. But again, it was like being silenced. You know that you've got a government that doesn't help you. Like, they'll come into my house, do you know what I mean? See that I remember even being younger than 6 and like stuff happening and social services coming to my house and seeing that my parents can't really speak English. Sort of like, listen, we think something's going on with your kid. Like, my mum's like, I don't understand what they're saying. My dad's like, everything's fine. Do you know what I mean? And they're not really doing the due diligence. Like, even when I was in secondary school, like, I used to come in like bruised and battered all the time. And I will say to them, like, I've just been fighting. Because I don't want no one to come and take my mum's kids away, innit? Like, do you get me? Like, at the end of the day, they're going to think my mum is part of the problem. Like, my mum is allowing, but we don't come from the same culture. Like, do you get me? In Algeria, like, it's the son of your dad, the daughter of your dad, innit? It's like the man, you need to call your dad if you want to sign papers. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the son of who? So it's a lot lies on who your father is. And women didn't really have a lot of power in Algeria, especially in my mum's time. So it was already like, it's African culture, innit? It's actually the same. Like, Muslim, African culture. Like, it's just that I'm white. So people think I'm English, but I'm like, I don't even have a British passport. So I don't know what you're on. Do you get me? Like, you are more English than me, you have a British passport. May I got to apply for a visa? You know who takes my passport? Ghana. Ghana takes my passport. Antigua will take my passport. But there's no European country or America that will see my green Algerian passport with Arabic writing on it, El Jazair, and will say, yeah, no, you don't need a visa, come through. Like, Esther, where? What do you mean? I need to apply for like crazy stuff when I travel. It's like, again, like being in an abusive household and you're Algerian and you're like Muslim and you're not from here, like, it's hard to get the help that you need. And I think for a long time, I just internalized it. I was just very much like, I was the eldest, innit? So I just had to keep it moving, try and protect my mum as much as I could. And yeah, and I got kicked out when I was 16. At 16, I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Like, if I stay here any longer, so I'm gonna catch a body or I'm gonna go meet my maker. So, and it was real life stuff, like real, growing up in Tottenham. Like, I read somewhere that people say I grew up in Hornsey. I did not. Like, Hornsey was peng to me. Like, Hornsey was, Crouch End was like bougie to me, you know. I grew up in Tottenham, Wood Green, like the council's moving us around within the same borough. Do you know what I mean? Borough of Haringey. But I went Hornsey School for girls because it was a girls' school. And obviously my parents, my dad. But when I say my parents, it's him really that, you know, had like a lot of the control in the house. And like, he thought like, you know, send her to a girls' school, no issues. I was moving wicked in that girls' school. A lot of the girls were moving wicked in that girls' school. Picked up weed smoking in that girls' school. Like, do you get me? It's like, he thought sending her to a girls' school would make her like prim and proper, but I was just with a whole bunch of other ratchet bitches that everyone was just ratchet. We was all fighting. Everyone was just having a good time. And then I'd go home and it would be like, do you get me? So I had to leave. And I think once I left home, that's when I started like really pursuing music, because not like that, but just kind of like, that's kind of where my therapy was. Like, I would write songs about certain things. Like, T's heard a lot of the songs that I've written about like my family or like my mom or my dad or whatever. I think that stuff haunts you. Like, when you've seen like a lot of like abuse, it's very haunting. And you kind of can't shake it, and you turn into a mad person because of it. Like, I know so many like guys who like just thinking, fam, why are you so tapped like this? And deep down it's because his home life was insane. Like, but we don't go and parade our home lives. Like, do you get me? Like, Like, I can't even begin to, like, I have so many friends from like all over the world, innit? Caribbean, Africa, Eastern European friends, Asian friends, like, and no one, like, when you start talking to people about their family life, yeah, it's always something mad. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's always something crazy, like, and I don't think it's like, we don't parade around our...
It's cultural, isn't it?
Yeah, like, you're not meant to talk about nothing. Like, if your dad's moving mad, you can't say nothing. Like, do you get me? It's like, you basically don't snitch. It's very, like, you can't show people, you know, for the honor, for the sake of honor. Like, and I remember everyone used to, like, see my dad and be like, your dad's so nice. Like, and I would be like, fam, that man uses my hair as a mop in the house. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, it's like stuff that, as I remember, like, confronting him and saying, so you'd be in jail. Like, you would be in jail for, like, endangerment of a child, abuse of a child, like he's, in my eyes, he's a criminal. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, there was for a really long time, I just couldn't, only close people around me would know, like, yeah, Mrs. Dad, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit peak, like, she can't really come and link us, she can't really do the things that people was doing in secondary school, do you know what I mean? So I think for me, this album was my first album. I really wanted to just be honest with, like, my journey so far, because it like that, my upbringing, like, impacted me a lot. Like, everything about me. Like, do you know what I mean? I think when you're called a whore from, like, the age of, like, 12, do you get me? Before you've even, like, had a period, someone saying you're a whore. Like, do you get what I mean? You're hearing somebody call your mother a whore. It's like, that already sets certain things in your head. You're like, I gotta be extra, like, on my toes, because you don't want this person to think that of you. And it's your father, like, it's not really meant to come from that person. It's actually, if anyone else calls you that, you're meant to go to your dad and be like, Dad, like, he called me that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he's supposed to go and fight them. But I think in my case, I just had it was just a lot of abuse, man. Like, a lot. And I feel like people will be able to relate. Because I don't feel alone, like, in it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, a lot of people will be able to relate, because I've spoken about the stuff I've been through with multiple people that have been on the album, the feature artists, like, do you get me? Like, they're confused, they want to know, like, so what's, like, the album about? And I'm just like, it's just about my life. It's just literally about the fact that I don't think I'm meant to be here. Like, I should have been dead a long time ago. Yeah, like, dead. I think it's the same for a lot of artists. Like, mental health and artistry go hand in hand. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we use the artistry to help us escape. When that's not working, we mix it with drugs. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, we mix it with something that is not meant to be good for us. Just try to lose yourself. Like, I should not be here. Like, for everything that I've been through, I really shouldn't be. Like, the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing now is insanity. Insane.
Can I ask you this? This is, okay, cool. So, I'm no doctor. I don't know about people about counselling, therapy. Have you ever done any of those things?
Yeah, when I had, like, counselling in school. There was a lady called Jackie who, like, was the school counsellor who, like, held me down. She knew what was going on, and she was from, do you remember where Jackie was from? I can't remember where she was from. She was definitely Caribbean, yeah. And, like, she knew. Like, she wasn't like a white lady sort of, like, trying to help all of the cultured immigrant kids. Like, do you get me? She was really, like, herself. She was a black woman. Do you get me? She understood a lot about culture. So when I would say to her, like, there's things that, like, you can't say, she actually would hold my secrets. I would be able to, like, tell her what's going on. Yeah. Even though, like, it's like, obviously, I would say it in a way where it's like, she's like, if I feel like it's in danger in your life, I'm going to have to say something. So I would say it in a way where it's like trying to stay within the loophole so that my mom or nothing comes back to my house, innit? But I didn't touch therapy again until I got pregnant.
Let's talk about, I'm going to take you away from that part. I'm going to talk about the thing that's really great is your songwriting. And yeah, like, you've penned a lot of hits already. Like, so how did you, obviously you're an artist, but how did you move into the part of saying, I actually want to start songwriting for other people? Or was it that you were demoing the songs and then people, like, how did that all come together?
I think I just have a very unique style that kind of ties into what we were just talking about. Like, I'm very direct, I'm very punchy, I don't take no shit. Like, And I have a way of sweetly portraying that in my music. Like, I'll talk crud, but in a very nice way. So that is kind of like gliding. And I feel like that caught some attention. And like a lot of people were like, you know, we need whenever like a sweet, you know, kind of musical persona comes around and they wanna change. Like, they want a little bit of like a bad girl vibe, or like they want some fire, or like they want something different. They'll come and be like, hey, like, could you pen a verse? Do you know what I mean? Like, and for me, I don't do it. Like, I'm not penning verses for any Tom, Dick and Harry. Like, I'm penning verses for people that I actually love. Like, if I rate your artistry, I'm penning verses all day. Because I'm not gonna run out of this source. Do you get it? Like, it's ever flowing for me. Like, I just need a couple conversations, and I already know. Like, even with Be Honest, for example, like, that was something that was curated properly. It wasn't no demo that we send. I don't send my music nowhere. Tay don't let me send my music. We don't send music. Like, I'm not gonna give you my stuff like just like in hopes that you'll like it. Like, nah. The business doesn't run like that. The world doesn't run like that. Do you get me? Like, even when people give you free samples, you get the free pretzel samples. They're very small. No one's giving you the full pretzel like for free. Do you get it? So I think with like that record, which is like my biggest record that I've been a part of, it was a thing where like I already had a relationship with Georgia. She was already my brethren. Like, and she hit me on a thing where like it's like, I need some help. Like, I need to like pattern these verses, and we just made it bang. And I didn't even write it based off me. I wrote it based off her. So I was like to her, like, okay, like, we're talking about who we wanted on the song, like, just talking about the song. Like, Cadenza obviously is like driving the music. I remember when I penned the verses and she was like, I can't, she's like, I can't sing that. I was like, yes, you can, bro. Who told you can't? It's like, imagine, like, she absolutely can, because you see the way she works the song now. It's insanity. She performed it the other day in London. It's like, it went off. Like, you're not able to sing a song you're not going to be able to sing a song that's like quote unquote not yours. Do you get me? Like, that verse is hers. Like, it was written for her. Like, do you get what I mean? So it's like, it's the same way that I apply it all the way around. If I'm working with an artist, I want to tailor it to them. I want to have a chat with them, see what they want out of the song. Like, it's kind of like a service. Do you know what I mean? Like, less like I'm writing songs, I'm writing people, I'm giving people my songs. Because the song that I've written that's for me, no one's ever getting that. Because it's personal. Like, I could never give anyone Miracle Freestyle. Impossible. Like, do you get what I mean? Or any of the songs on my album, because they're personal, they're mine. You wouldn't be able to, what are you even talking about? Like, do you get what I mean? So it's like, with writing with other people and like getting into that, it's just a tip. People ask me a lot, like, how do you get into songwriting? Like, just like, be sick, just be lit, be unique, innit? Write in your way. People are gonna wanna get a little bit of that, and then pick who you wanna give that to. Because it's like, you have a talent, you need to share it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have no problem like sitting with Mahalia or Georgia or any of these women that work in the industry that I'm a fan of, and penning with them all day. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, me and Ray could sit and write 100 songs in a session, and those songs ain't going nowhere. But that's just, again, like, it's an art, innit? So you can't really move like too stush with it. And I've always wanted to like write for other people too. Do you get me? Like, I've written for people that I can't even say I've written for them, because I've signed NDAs. So it's like, do you get what I mean? Like, I would want to boast and be like, trust me, but I'm very content in the fact that I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, but it's a good first foot I've had. It's all organic. Like, it's all love, really. It's not like, oh yeah, like, you know, this person needs a track. Like, if I don't rate that person, if I don't like fuck with their music, I'm not writing nothing.
Yeah, you like I said, you just seem authentic and true to you. And I think even to the point you said about Georgia, she's probably at a stage in her career where she's still like trying to figure herself out in the music. And you know, London's very...
She's a young woman. Yeah, like, she's a young woman trying to figure out herself. I feel like when people bust when they're young, yeah, like, you know, there's this thing where you got to like keep up whatever's worked. Whatever blueprint that has worked for you, you have to keep it up. But it's like, people change. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of why I feel like you have to be patient with artists. Because not, you know, like Aretha Franklin was making loads of different types of music at the time that was supposed to hit, like loads of like Motown stuff, and she was like singing all the songs that, you know, were busting them times. But when she wanted to go back to church and make a gospel album, she did that at a time that, you know, the record company was like, that's not gonna work. The people don't want to hear church music. Like we want to hear stuff like Elvis. Like, do you know what I mean? And at that time, like, it's like, I always value artists that basically just don't listen to what other people have to say. Like, just do what you want, because this music is like a very spiritual thing. Like, it's in every corner of the world. Like, it's one thing you will find, it's like food, like nurture. Like, you'll find it you'll find it in every religion. Like a nasheed, a hymn, do you know what I mean? Like a mantra, like it's everywhere. So you can't deny that this is something very special. You listen to a song and it changes your emotions, it changes your frequency. Like that's a mad science. That's like magical. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm Muslim, so like I struggle sometimes with like, you know, like I'm Muslim, but I make music. Do you get me? It's contrasting, but music is not like forbidden in Islam. It's everything that comes with it. It's this lifestyle that comes with it. It's the stuff you're talking about. It's the devils in the suits, like at the labels. Like, do you get what I mean? Like all of these weird energies that really, it's like music is a pure thing. It makes people happy. Like, do you get what that's really what it's meant to do. It's either meant to make you happy or it's meant to like make you feel okay with being sad. Yeah. Or if you're angry, you slap on a tune and you can be angry with the song. Or if you need to go gym and you need to actually bang this 5-minute thing on a treadmill, you're not doing that with no music. Like, you put on a song that's gonna make you run those extra 2 minutes. Like, it's like science. Like, it's like, it's a drug. It's legit a drug. I'm a drug dealer. like I deal music. Like, I don't think people look at it like that, but look at the business of it.
But I want to commend you also. I was saying the women features on the project. Like, yeah. I said, like, there's always been especially I think during lockdown, it's like people became obsessed with like R&B, is it being supported or, you know, and I know you don't put yourself in any particular genre, right? You remind me like almost like a Prince. I'm just an artist. I just create, right? And wherever you guys take it as, I'm not saying it's that. Yeah. So when I look at the project and I say, or the album, sorry, and I see the artists, like I said to you before we started, it's like you got some of the best out there. And I said to myself, well, that should just avoid the argument because everyone's on a project. So by default, here it is, isn't it? You don't say you want it, now here it is. So my question to you is, one, do you agree with the sentiments that people have about, you know, the genre not being supported or pushed? And then two, do you feel like now that you put out your project that you have got that support and push for your own like album?
I think it's like fashion, like music trends in waves. So like, you know, at one point we had that yodel kid, that was yodeling, like, and he put out a tune, and then we had like Lil Nas come out and do like the kind of country vibe with the hip hop vibe mixed together. Then like time will come, trap will be the next thing, drill will be the next thing, and then like time will go on and it'll be like, oh, it's ballads again. You know, when Boo'd Up was doing its rounds, yeah, it's like that's R&B. Like Boo'd Up that's R&B, like, and that is like a worldwide tune. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, it's just in waves. There's a whole group of people who celebrate R&B like it's the best genre every single day. Do you know what I mean? But because the majority, and because like, you know, again, like the feeling, like, are you gonna listen to R&B when you're banging gym? Like, probably not. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't. Like, but I'll listen to R&B like when, you know, I'm feeling like I'm in a soft mood. I want to hear someone sing. I don't necessarily want to hear someone rap at me. I want to hear someone sing. Do you know what I mean? Or like maybe it's a Sunday and I'm just like, I want something soft. I might put on like at one point, yeah, R&B was like it was the epitome of music, really. Kind of American, but like, you know, when you think about like Aretha Franklin, Luther Vandross, like Whitney, like, you know, like all of the from maybe the late 80s all through the 90s, like R&B was like really doing its thing. And then it's just like the times, innit, that we're in now, people don't have enough patience for it, I guess. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, and R&B is a mood. It's a feeling. It's like, you're not going to be in the same mood the whole time. That's why you get these R&B artists sometimes that now don't want to make R&B. Like, do you get me? Now she wants to make a pop banger. Like, she wants to make something that it gives you a little bit like, you know, to dance to before you go to the club. And now it's like, oh, she's had a shift in genre change. She is now, you know, like, or you've got these pop artists who, you know, like Ariana Grande, bro. Like, do you get me? That's a pop artist getting all these R&B tunes written for her by Victoria Monet. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she's banging them, and it's working for her because she's a big artist. People could say, switching up positions for you. That's R&B. That's not rap. That's not pop. That's R&B. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, but it's like, again, it's very here or there. I just feel like, bruv, like, if people don't rate it, leave them. Leave them. You don't rate R&B, that's your business. Like, that's actually your business.
But do you
it's
feel
not that deep.
Do you feel you're getting support?
I don't. It's peak when I say it, but it's like,
I don't know if you care or not.
no, it's not even whether I care. Like, support, yeah. I feel like I've always been supported. I've always had people who get me. Do you get me? Like, I've always had that. Ever since I was putting out music on SoundCloud through my iPad on GarageBand. Like, do you get me? Like, I had no money, I had nothing. I just had the family iPad that me, my brother, my sister, and my mum would use. Old gen, like GarageBand, uploading it onto SoundCloud, thinking that we're bad. And even then, I had people who were like, "This is sick. Like, this is really cool. Like, I love this." And that was always, one person is always enough for me, basically. I'm that kind of person. Like, if one person tells me that they love it, like, I'm getting like a few people who are like, "Yo, I love this. Like, this is amazing." I'm kind of cool, because it's not trash that somebody said that they like it. Do you get what I mean? Like, it can't be because she likes it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like ketchup. Like, I can't convince you now that ketchup is dead. I can't, because you'll be like, well, I might not be in the mood for ketchup all the time, but the majority of people like ketchup, you know? It's just like, no, I think it's trash. I think I'm a ketchup-free household. Do you get what I mean, though? Like, it's just, I don't think R&B is supported as much as it should be, but I think that's because a lot of women make it and not a lot of men. Because when Lucky Day comes through, or when like Giveon comes through, and, you know, like when all of these, like, you know, like the D'Angelo vibe of 2022 comes through, that buses. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know, I didn't, and this is again, part of my ignorance. I was saying to myself, R&B, it's sung by women.
Daniel Caesar.
It's crazy. But I'm saying, why, it feels like, is it that women, because there's a lot of women, like, if I go to those, like, if Jill Scott's got a show, she's doing Hammersmith, like, it's like, I don't understand why it feels like, I don't know if it's because we're in a city girl vibe and everyone just wants to turn up and out, I don't know, but it's like, I was always surprised where I felt like there are women are making music, but it feels like maybe not enough women themselves. And I don't know the data or the stats, but I just feel like there's enough women who I feel can relate to this type of experience, this type of music. And I would have thought probably be less of guys who will be engaged in it. And I thought, yeah, there's enough women to make this type of sound, like, elevate. That's my, like...
There is. If you start reeling off the list of US or UK R&B babes, like, their list is phenomenal. There should be no rules for this thing. Like, there actually shouldn't be any rules. Like, you make music, if you're good at it, you have a core following of people that love you, that will show up regardless. Do you know what I mean? And if it grows, it grows. That's amazing. But if it doesn't, are you going to stop making music? Because if so, what are you in it for? Like, if you're trying to do music so you can be famous and rich, there's so many other things you can go and do to be famous and rich. You can start OnlyFans. You can be an influencer. Like, do you get what I mean? You can unbox stuff on TikTok. Like, there's so many things you can do. If you got a banging personality, you can host some stuff. Like, you can do so. Like, music is supposed to be sacred. Like, do you get me? Like back in the day, like when people were making music, Nina Simone was making music about real life stuff. Bob Marley was making music about real life stuff. Even like again, like Amy, or like people like, you know, like just there's so many artists to just reel off. Do you know what I mean? That had an actual purpose within their music, and that's why their music is still a testament till today. Do you know what I mean? Like people who, and it doesn't have to be a certain genre. Like, there's people who are like, I love Young Thug. Young Thug is my idol. Like, do you get me? The stuff that he says is spiritual to me. Like, do you get me? Like, I've seen some of the man them listen to Thugger and they're wheeling it up like 5 times. You can't tell me that that's not hitting your soul. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, that's what really music is supposed to do. It's just supposed to hit your soul. It's not meant to breed anything but positivity when you listen to it. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if it's about something negative, like, do you get me? So we're all lost in this whole like numbers game and this whole fame game, this popularity contest of music. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's more popular? Who's more popping? Who's popping now? Basically who's on what? What's everyone on? Basically all the time. Rather than like leaving it and just, do you get me? Like just taking in, some artists are not for you. Like, do you get me? You don't like their music and that's cool. Like, I know for 100% that I'm not an artist for everyone. Like, there's some people who listen to it. Like, I remember talking about, doing an interview talking about how like basically women are not rated in this thing and we should be because like we're actually amazing. Like, hello, do you get it? And someone was like, are you dumb? Just do better, your music's trash. Like, if your music wasn't trash, like then we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's like, you're begging us to listen to you, but how about you just be great? Like, do you get me? And I was thinking, I hear it. Like,
wait, was that a comment or was it?
Yeah, it was a comment. It was a comment under like this BBC post. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Like, cool. Like, if that's how you're taking what I'm saying as, oh, well, you need to do better, then you don't have the right education about what it actually takes to do better. Like, we already have to do 10 times more. Do you get me? Like, I already have to do glam. I already have to like watch my figure and do this, and then they'll be like, oh, but what about Adele? And it's like, bruv, Adele bust case. Like, because she didn't give a fuck about any of you lot. That's why she bust case. Because do you know, people was chatting bad shit about Adele. People was chatting shit about Amy Winehouse. People chat shit. It's like the only thing that they can do is basically chat shit. And to them, it's like, they think it's, do you get me? It's even me. I chat shit. Like, it's everyone in this life at some point. It's just chatting a little bit of shit. And it's like, as a musician, you can't really let that deter you or like give you the direction that you're going in. Do you get me? I'm not gonna now start making music that I feel like, because I want to like impress this crowd, or I need to chart. Let me make a chart. It's not me. It's not me. It will never happen.
With the album, talk to me about the artwork, like the concept of the title, like, because I like when I look at the artwork, it feels strong, it feels powerful. So was that your idea? Was it like a creative director, management? How did that all come together? No,
it was. I think for the cover, it was mostly me. I definitely wanted it to symbolize my heritage. That I'm Muslim, you're not deep in that. My country has a very, very strong history and strong roots in a lot of the stuff that, do you get me, you lot are applauding. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's like, I'm very, very aware that I'm a white woman. I'm very aware. Like, I've never ever tried to pretend that I'm black. Do you get me? Or that I'm anything but the skin color that I am. But I'm 100% also Algerian. You will not take that away from me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't speak the language that you lot speak at home with your mums and dads. Do you get me? Like, I speak Algerian. I don't even speak Arabic. Like, I don't even class myself as an Arab. I don't speak it. Like, I can't, do you know what I mean? So it's like, for the album cover, I just wanted to say a lot without saying a lot. Do you get what I mean? When you see that album cover, bro, you'll see me in my traditional Algerian wear, bro. Like, do you get me? Like, that's not, you could never look at that and tell me I'm culturally appropriating anything. That's my culture. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like having the pen in the background, like, is letting you lot know, like, yeah, I know I'm a bad boy writer. I know. Like, I actually know. It's one of my many talents. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm proud of it. Like, I wasn't proud for a really long time of my talents. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I was just a ghost. Like, I didn't really believe in myself. But like, now I'm like, bro, I'm sick, fam. So I'm gonna, like, do you get me? I'm not gonna allow anyone to, like, you know, rob me of, like, again, my identity. I think that's bad either way, whichever way you look at it. Do you know what I mean? It's like someone saying to you, because you're British, that you're not African man. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, regardless of your, like people, like, when you go back home, for example, like when I go back to Algeria, some of them look at me like I'm English, bro, in Algeria. Yeah. Like, I'm talking to those people as well. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily just a black and white thing. It's just heritage, culture. like your country, where I was born. Do you get it? I ain't lying when I tell you I'm the GOAT. Back when I was just a baby on a boat. Like, do you get it? Like, little baby crossing the aisles, God knows how, God knows when. Like, do you get me? But I just wanted people to know that. And I wanted to, like, also celebrate my people. Like, Algeria is the biggest country in Africa, bro. Like, do you get it? Like, next to Sudan. Sudan obviously broke up. So, like, North and South Sudan, obviously now by default, Algeria is the biggest. Do you get me? Like, a lot of it, there's a lot of culture. A lot. And I don't see many, like, Algerian artists, like, doing their thing. Now there's a few. And I can name them for you. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's Soul King, there's Lolo Zouai, one's in New York, one's French. Do you get me? Like, here in London, it's me, bro. Like, do you get me? Like, I don't know. I'm pot of paper. Like, do you get it? That's my Algerian, bro. Like, and I relate. I'm a pot of fan because he's Algerian. Do you get what I mean? Like, and it's like, I don't know, like you want a space where you feel safe, where somebody is not going to tell you you're this or you're that, or you're not this or you're not that. We're living in a world like right now that's so fluid, yeah? Like, people can be whatever they want. And you lot got a problem with me being Algerian. Like, do you get me? If I say I'm Algerian, yeah, but you're still white. Yeah, okay, I know that, but I'm Algerian. If I start speaking, لو كان بدنا نهضر معكم هكذا تقولوا لي نو انت ماشي جزائريه نو انا ما نهضرش جزائريه مليح نهضر جزائريه غير شويه يقول لك like I'm mad. It's my country, it's my language. Like, do you get what I mean? It's like I will start just talking to people in Algerian. I will throw the English away and just start speaking to people in Algerian just to be like, listen, there's nothing wrong with being English, innit? It's just I'm just not English. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like when people say, oh, are you Turkish? I'm very offended. I'm not Turkish either. Like, do you get me? Like, I'm Algerian. Like, no diss to you. I was just like in general, innit? Like, I'm just like it's important to big up where you're from and to know where you're from. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, I'm proud. Like, so I've always been proud. But yeah. Well, with Akeem's outro, our producers are Sons of Sonics. They were the guys, Mike and Mo. They produced Nobody, which I think for me was like a really strong song that I had. So I wanted to like hone them in again to like help me create something that was very meaningful. Obviously, my son, there's nothing that means more to me than him. Do you know what I mean? But it was the song starts with his laugh, and I think that is like the epitome of pure joy, like to encapsulate that in sound. And if I'm being frank, like, give people the blessing to hear that, because it's not fake. That's my son laughing in the studio. I'm making him laugh. I'm recording it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even done at home. He was in the studio live with me. I think he was about like 3-4 months at that time. And the song is just about how he's changed me and what my life is now looking like with him in it. And then there's a part at the end of the song where I touch on child abuse, because for me, when I got pregnant, when I had my baby, when I actually saw how innocent and how beautiful, like actually a miracle from God. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm a God-fearing woman, I'm a Muslim woman. I'm like really looking at like this human who is half of me, half of who I love. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you're just astounded. And I wonder how the fuck people can harm something like that. And it's unexplainable. You think of Baby P, you think of the 4 or 5 in 2022 under 5s that have been killed by their parents due to negligence, due to abuse. You're talking about kids going to the hospitals with fractures, like, like head trauma. Like, these are kids. I seen this video of this woman, and she's like, your daddy doesn't want to come. Your daddy doesn't want to pick up the phone, yeah? Your dad doesn't want to pick up the phone. She's slapping up the kid. And I'm thinking, fam, it's like we ain't even protecting kids. I, as a child, was not protected myself. And I think having my baby made me sad. I don't think a lot of people open up and talk about that. But when I had Akeem, I was sad. I was looking at Akeem and I was like, I used to be you. Like, I used to be a little baby just like you. And for some reason, like, when do you stop being a baby, bro? Like, you stop being a baby Islamically when you bleed. Like, do you get me? Or when your balls drop, you get your Adam's apple, you're not a kid no more. You are now adolescent. Do you know what I mean? But we're talking about people from the ages of 0 to, let's say, 10 years old. You know what I mean? That's a kid, it's a child. And the amount of people that I know that have been abused, sexually abused, as toddlers, as kids, like, do you know what I mean? Like been exposed to things as kids. I'm like 4 years old, I'm watching stuff I shouldn't be watching. Like 6 years old, I'm watching my mum get hit with a chair. She's pregnant. Like, then my mum's coming to pick me up from school and like, there's blood in her eyes. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, as a kid, that's scaring you. Like, so in that song, I was like, yeah, how could they do someone like you so wrong? Like, what could you do that is so wrong? Like, you're an angel. Like, you get me? Like, you have a one-way ticket to heaven. Like, you have no sins on you. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, that for me was, it was really heartbreaking it's double, innit? It's like, I'm so happy that I get to provide my child with love, safety and care and kindness and understanding. I get to give that to my child, even though I didn't have it. Even though I was never taught it. Like, there's an excuse of like, oh, hurt people. And, the people who abuse will probably abuse. I don't give a fuck.
You broke the cycle, innit?
I broke that shit. And I feel like it shouldn't be like oh, we broke the cycle. It should be mandatory for you to break that cycle. Do you know what I mean? Like, and again, man, I just love kids, man. We're all kids. We're all still kids. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know we grow and I know we turn into adults and like, but like, the essence of being a child is forever. Do you know what I mean? And like, when you have a kid, you could be 40, 45, and that kid will bring out the kid in you. Do you know what I mean? Now all of a sudden, choo-choo, like, trying to play with like, you're grown, like, like, so I definitely, God willing, if God blesses me the right way and like opportunities open up for me and I get to make some real money, like, I'm not on a clout thing. I really just want to help. I truly feel like, again, like I should be dead in it. So if I'm here, it's not to just wear drip and that, you get me, go, I be fun, party. Like, it can't be it like that. I have a job to do, like, in this world, innit? Like, and I feel like it surrounds kids and it surrounds equality. Like, I want to make sure that, do you get me? Like, I do my part to not only just continue being an ally, I've been an ally all my life, but to actually do my part to make change, use my privilege to make change. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, actually do things in this life that transcend music, like, that will help people in situations like myself, like, set up houses for runaway kids. 16 as a kid, like, to be out on the road in Tottenham on your ones. What? I was in the trenches. Like, I was, because I didn't have no guidance around me. Like, I could have been getting into any type of fuckery, and we know what kind of fuckery you can be getting into in Tottenham. But Akeem's outro is like an ode to my son, my baby, his father, what we're able to do, and just children, human beings in general, like a genuine regard for human life. Oh, it's long. Oh, it's long, fam. It's long. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't. Like, the balance part for me, that's not the hard part. You can take your son's studio, fam. We're so blessed. Like, as a musician, do you know how blessed you are? Like, you can take your, like, when you're a musician, like, when I go studio, I'm like, I got runners. Like, they go to the shop for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I used to go shop for the olders. Like, and now someone's going to shop for me. Like, you can bring your child. You can bring your baby. You see 21 Savage in there, always kids in the studio. Like, you can go on tour, bruv. Music is not like having an office job. Office job, you can't take your kid there. Some office jobs, they might have a little nursery, but, like, with music, I don't think it's hard to balance having children. I just think that people don't value that having kids is a beautiful thing. They think that having kids is like, oh, now you're old and now you got... No, now I'm brand new, actually. And my child, 3 months old, you're in Big Moloko studio where Wizkid recorded his album. You're crazy. What? Like, or you go to Moloko studio in Birmingham and you see all the plaques on the walls of all the amazing artists that I've made, myself included. Do you know what I mean? Like, and my pick-me's just there. Like, my child is posted. Like, so the balance of it is not hard. It's just the mental health aspect of it. And it's being in the eye of the public and being a mom. Like, you know, I'm not Riri, bro. Like, you like, my belly wasn't posted. Like, like that when I gave birth. Like, it wasn't. I'm still a very private person. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like to mix my personal life with my music. But my child is like part of my music, but to the extent that I say he can be. Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, what's hard about balancing, I think, music and your child is like the privacy. That's what's hard. Do you get what I mean? Because I want to take my child's studio everywhere, but I got to watch out what fucking producer's in there. Like, do you get what I mean? I got to make sure it's all good vibes. Like, I remember when I went to Link TSB for the first time, I'd just given, my baby was like maybe 2-3 months, and I had 2 sessions with him, and that's how we started making the album. But I was like, I can't take Akeem for the first one. I got to go suss him out first. Like, do you get what I mean? And see what, and his energy was the cleanest energy ever. Next day I brought my son. It was me, T, the baby, Tay, like my friend Antoinette. We're all in the studio, bruv. Like, and it's beautiful to see. Like, women can really do it all. Like, a lot of people thought when I got pregnant, oh yeah, she's done. Like, she's done. Yeah, she's done. Finished. Her career's gone down the drain. It's like, because I did the most amazing thing in the world, my career's gone down the drain. Wow, you people are backwards. I cannot speak to you people. You people are sick. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I just keep realizing the more I get into this industry and the more that I just get into life, that people are sick and that they've been tormented. They're tormented people and they will try their best to get you down. Like, you could be doing the best thing in the world. You could be giving life, you know, like, and people will still try to turn that into a negative. Like, oh, like, aren't you tired? Okay, but are you not hungover every day? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, but like, you don't get to, you know, you don't get to do this. I'm like, I defo do. Like, I defo do. Like, do you know what I mean? As a woman as well, your body changes. Like, you get a bit big and like all of a sudden you're not fitting into your little superstar dress. But at the end of the day, I'm a musician. I'm not a model. Do you get it? I'm a musician. I'm not an actress. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm a musician. So if it doesn't pertain to the sound that is coming out of your speaker, you have no right to speak to me about it. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's, yeah, to balance like your own personal self with like you being a mum is not as hard as people make it out to be. Like, do you get me? Like, I would like to consider myself like a cool mom, you know, like a real, like, I always used to go, I remember I used to go to my friends' houses, yeah, and their mum would be so lit. Like, T's mum would be so lit, like, because she just talked to me like, do you get me? She's very eloquent, like, very well-spoken, but it's just real. It's like I feel like I'm kind of, like, I'm not talking to, like, an adult, like someone who's very, like, I'm scared to, like, say something. It's very comfortable. Like, people just, like, that's kind of what you give to people. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're just able to, like, be yourself. I feel like I've enjoyed being myself. I've got my times when I can be very eloquent, and I would like to pass that on to my son. Like, to just be who you want to be. Like, got people out here telling you that, listen, I'm this, bruv. Can't tell me nothing. This is who I am. And I don't hear no chat. Like, do you know what I mean? For, like, anyone else. Like when you're telling, you can't have no chat, but because Miraa wants to talk like this is a problem. This is how I am, man. This is just how I am.